All right, so you've got like articles stacked up, maybe some notes from that webinar you watched, and you're thinking, how do I actually use email to grow my business? Well, that's what we're diving into today with Ian Brodie's Email Persuasion. It's not just about sending emails, it's about making them actually work for you.
Right.
And I think about it, we're all drowning in promotions, newsletters, you name it.
Yeah.
So what makes someone actually want to read what you send?
That's the key question, isn't it? And Brodie argues that, in a world now that's dominated by social media algorithms, email is your secret weapon.
Okay.
It lets you build those genuine one-on-one relationships with your audience.
So it's like the difference between shouting into a crowded room versus like having a quiet, meaningful conversation.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that personalized approach, that feeling that you're speaking directly to them, that's what builds trust over time. And people buy from people they trust.
Okay, so less about the buy now, flashing neon signs, and more about building something authentic.
Yeah.
I like it. So where does Brodie say we should start?
He's all about understanding your audience's why.
Okay.
It's not enough to just know, their age, their job title.
Right.
You need to get inside their heads.
So like what are their biggest pain points? What are they staying up at night worrying about?
Exactly. What are their aspirations? What are they hoping to achieve? Once you understand their motivations, then you can tailor your emails to genuinely resonate with them. It's about making them feel seen and heard.
Okay. So before we even think about writing a single word, we need to really know who we're talking to. Makes sense. But I've also heard a lot about growing your email list as big as possible, as fast as possible.
Right.
Is that something Brodie emphasizes?
He actually pushes back on that a little bit.
Okay.
He's all about quality over quantity.
Okay.
You'd rather have 100 engaged subscribers who are genuinely interested in what you have to offer than 1,000 people who just signed up for your freebie and never open another email.
Right. It's like that saying, would you rather be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond?
Exactly.
You want to be where the action is, where your message resonates.
Exactly. It's about building a community, not just collecting email addresses.
Okay, so you got your targeted list. You've got people who actually want to hear from you. But how do you make sure they actually open those emails? I'm talking about avoiding the dreaded unopened abyss.
Yeah, that's where a compelling subject line comes in.
Okay.
Brodie has this whole formula for this.
Okay.
He says, for crafting subject lines that grab attention, he says, interest equals benefits plus curiosity.
All right, I'm intrigued. Give me the breakdown.
So think of it like this. You need to hint at the value inside the email without giving it all away.
Yeah.
You're sparking their curiosity and making them crave the information that's waiting for them inside.
So it's like a movie trailer, right?
Yeah.
You get a glimpse of the action to pique your interest, but you have to watch the whole thing to get the full story.
Exactly.
I like it.
A subject line like, struggling with, insert their biggest pain point, here's how to fix it, can be incredibly effective.
Okay.
You're speaking directly to their needs while offering a solution.
It's like you're having a conversation before they even open the email. You're enticing them to learn more. Okay, so you've nailed the subject line. They're hooked. Yeah. They're opening the email. What's next?
Yeah.
What does Brodie say about the actual content of the email itself?
This is where Brodie gets really interesting. He says, forget about those dry corporate emails we're all used to. Think of your emails as stories.
Stories. Okay, I'm listening. I love a good story.
Exactly, and that's the point. Stories are powerful because they tap into our emotions.
Okay.
They draw us in, they make us feel something, and they help us connect with the message on a much deeper level.
So instead of just listing a bunch of features and benefits, we should be weaving a narrative that our audience can really connect with.
Precisely. Share a customer success story. Show how your product or service helps someone overcome a real-life challenge. Or use a personal anecdote.
Yeah.
People love getting a glimpse behind the scenes.
It's like that saying, show, don't tell.
Right, exactly.
Paint a picture with your words. Help them experience what you're talking about, not just read about it.
Exactly. Because when people feel something, when they connect with your message emotionally, that's when they're most likely to take action.
Okay, I'm convinced. Stories are the way to go.
Yeah.
So we've hooked them with that subject line. We've drawn them in with a captivating story. Now it's time to go for the sale, right?
Well, not quite. Remember, Brodie's whole approach is about building those long-term relationships, not just going for the quick sell.
Right. So how do we walk that line? How do we provide value and nurture that relationship without shying away from the fact that, ultimately we do want them to become customers?
Yeah. Well, this is where understanding a little bit of psychology can be really helpful.
Okay.
Brodie dives into Robert Cialdini's 6 Principles of Persuasion.
Oh, I've heard of Cialdini.
Yeah.
It's like using psychology to influence decision-making, right? Like some kind of Jedi mind trick.
Not quite Jedi mind tricks, but it is about understanding what makes people tick.
Huh?
Cialdini's principles are really about presenting your message in a way that naturally resonates with how people make decisions.
Yeah.
It's about making it easy for them to say yes.
Okay, so less used car salesman and more trusted friend offering helpful advice.
Exactly. Let's take the principle of reciprocity, for example.
Okay.
Brodie talks about how, when you give something of value away for free, like a helpful checklist, a template, or even just like a really insightful piece of content, people are naturally more inclined to want to give back in return.
It's like we're hardwired to return favors. Someone does something nice for us. We want to do something nice for them.
Precisely. Or think about social proof.
Okay.
We all do it right.
Yeah.
You see a long line outside a restaurant, you assume it must be good. You see a product with hundreds of 5-star reviews, you're more likely to buy it.
It's like we're looking for those cues from others to validate our own decisions.
Exactly. And you can use this in your email marketing showcase testimonials from happy customers.
All right.
Highlight case studies, even just mentioning how many people follow you on social media can all have like a subtle but really powerful impact.
So it's not about being pushy. It's about using these subtle cues to build trust and make your offer more enticing.
Exactly. And Brodie gives tons of examples of how to apply these principles ethically and effectively in your emails.
This is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But I imagine even with all the right psychological tools in place, it still comes down to building that trust over time.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You can't shortcut trust.
Right.
It's something you earn with every email you send, every interaction you have.
You said it before, and I'm starting to really feel it. Email marketing is a marathon, not a sprint. But I'm just one person. How am I supposed to find the time to craft these like perfectly personalized emails, nurture all these relationships, and still actually run my business?
Well, that's where, as you might have guessed, Brodie brings in the power of automation.
Okay.
And he's not suggesting that you give up that personal touch.
Right.
But it's about working smarter, not harder.
Okay.
It's about leveraging technology to do some of that heavy lifting for you. Think about it. You can set up a series of emails that go out automatically based on certain actions your subscribers take.
So if someone signs up for my newsletter, boom, they get like a welcome sequence?
Exactly. Or let's say they click a link in your email about like a particular product or service.
Right.
That click can trigger a series of emails that dives deeper into that topic, offering valuable insights and addressing their specific interests.
Okay, so this is blowing my mind. It's like having a team of like virtual assistants working around the clock to nurture these relationships for you.
That's the beauty of it. Automation frees up your time so you can focus on other aspects of your business, like creating amazing new content or working directly with your clients.
Right.
But here's the key. It's not about sending generic mass emails. You can still personalize automated sequences to make each subscriber feel like you're speaking directly to them.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot between automation and personalization.
Exactly.
Using technology to our advantage without losing that human touch.
Absolutely. And Brodie gives some great frameworks for doing just that.
Okay.
He talks about segmenting your list based on interests, using dynamic content that changes based on who's receiving the email, and constantly testing and refining your sequences to make sure that they're hitting the mark.
Makes sense. It's about working smarter, not harder. But even with all this automation, I imagine we still need to stay engaged, right?
Yeah.
Keep our finger on the pulse of what's working and what's not.
100%.
Okay.
Brodie stresses the importance of analyzing your email metrics. Are people opening your emails? Are they clicking on your links? Are they buying your products? These metrics are your guiding lights. They tell you what's resonating with your audience and what needs tweaking.
So it's a process of constant learning and improvement.
Exactly. Email marketing isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. The most successful email marketers are the ones who are constantly testing, measuring, and refining their approach based on real-time data. It's about staying agile and adapting to what your audience is telling you.
We covered a lot of ground today. So for our listeners out there, what's the one big takeaway you want them to remember about Ian Brodie's email persuasion?
I think the biggest thing is that building relationships is at the heart of successful email marketing. It's about shifting your mindset from selling at people to building relationships with people. When you approach email marketing with a focus on providing genuine value, building trust, and fostering those authentic connections, everything else falls into place. The sales, the growth, the long-term success, it all stems from that foundation of trust.
I love that. And Brodie really gives us the tools and the strategies to actually put that philosophy into practice. This has been eye-opening. So whether you're just starting out with email marketing or you're like a seasoned pro looking for a fresh perspective, Email Persuasion is definitely worth a read. And hey, if you've already read it, we want to hear from you. What resonated with you? What are you going to implement first? Hit us up in the comments. We love hearing from our listeners. For more deep dives into the books and ideas that are shaping the future of business, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Until next time, happy emailing, everyone.